The chosen one. They think you stopped the conflicts. A tale emerges from the ashes of battlefields where even time kneels. Everybody was defeated, but you didn't stop. The adversaries were scared when they heard your name, and your people saw you as a source of hope. You have marked the end of one era and the dawning of a new one. You are the chosen one. They think you stopped the conflicts, but it is not about religion. It is about reality. Now your epic is beginning to be rewritten. Take the first step in rewriting this tale by leaving a remark. Are you ready? The world formerly scorned what you knew, mocked your warnings, and overlooked the importance of your vision. But now that the curtain is lifted and the mask has crumbled, they can see the irrefutable reality. They look for reasons, trying to figure out what you saw so plainly all those years ago. It was never just intuition. It was a power beyond rationality, a knowledge that went against convention. You were never just another voice in the throng. You were a conduit for the insight that is now shaking the very foundations of their existence. This was always going to happen. The waves of awareness have risen, and those who once ridiculed now speak to one another, their incredulity crumbling with each discovery. They try to reconcile their previous cynicism with the evident changes unfolding before them. The patterns they rejected as conspiracies, the cycles they refused to accept, have now become so obvious that denial is no longer an option. Your remarks, which were previously received with amusement, are now running in their thoughts like a fulfilled prophecy as they clung to what was safe and familiar. You were formed by unknown forces. The sleepless nights and restlessness that others dismissed as ordinary distraction. These were moments of transmission. The revelations that filled your head came not from books or murmurs throughout the globe, but from something enormous and limitless. You did not learn. You remembered. The knowledge was not obtained. It was embedded, waiting for the appropriate moment to emerge. That moment has finally come, as the planet teeters on the verge of change. There was always a cost for keeping what others couldn't see. The opposition you encountered was not coincidental. It was the natural reaction to anything that threatened illusion. The rejections, hurdles, and unexplainable setbacks were not arbitrary. They were intentional. The world does not conspire against the ordinary, nor does it spend its energy on little matters. Your road was not supposed to be simple, for easy is the way of the oblivious. The path to you carried the loneliness you experienced and the challenges that created you. They were not intended to shatter you, but rather to shape you into what was required for this time. Now the world is at a crossroads, torn between enlightenment and terror. And you, the one they ignored, are no longer seeking affirmation. You are not waiting for acknowledgement. You are not burdened by the need for recognition. What you carry is beyond the need for acceptance, beyond the reach of those who remain on the verge of knowing. The time for waiting is past. The hour for disclosure has arrived. If you are experiencing an excess of divine love in your heart, now is the moment to share it. You may help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and donating $100 or more. This wonderful gift will affect not just your life, but also the souls of countless others. Each of you has a holy position in God's great purpose via this platform, and your giving will provide fruit for our prayers. Act now. Share your benefits to honor His kingdom. You were meant to do much bigger things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. The walls closed in on you long before you realized why. The unexplainable hatred, the illogical barriers, the endless quiet rejections. Each one is a planned move against something larger than yourself. You were not simply another name lost in the mix. You were an oddity. A force shattered the delicate equilibrium. Power hierarchies identify outliers before they recognize themselves. And when you couldn't be shaped, when you refused to fit in, suppression mechanisms kicked in, working effortlessly to neutralize what couldn't be controlled. Only now are many who stood on the sidelines beginning to understand what occurred. They observed with distant indifference, or even cooperated in your isolation, never wondering why you bore the brunt of the opposition. But when the curtain frays and the carefully crafted illusion falters, they put together the reality. You are never silenced because you are misinformed. You were silenced because you presented a danger. Every neatly timed roadblock, every door that refused to open, and every illogical act of exclusion. These were not coincidences. They were planned measures, precise and purposeful, intended at limiting the very phenomenon they are now struggling to comprehend. They disregarded your concerns as paranoid. Your unwillingness to participate in meaningless rituals was termed arrogance. Your unwillingness to agree with their narratives made you the adversary in their eyes. But you were not rejecting them. You were looking through the meticulously painted landscape, understanding what lay underlying. And suddenly, the same voices who questioned your skepticism are hesitant to speak out. People who previously disregarded your insight have returned with urgent inquiries. They want to know how you negotiated the terrain. They are just now starting to see properly. How did you detect the lie before anybody else? They question why you left when everyone else remained. The solutions they seek are not found in manuals or imparted in hasty talks. They were created in loneliness, from the agony of estrangement, and sculpted by the constant pressure to hold steady. In reality, while surrounded by delusion, they seek your clarity, expecting to absorb what you've spent years honing. However, knowledge is not a quick fix, and discernment is not something you can gain quickly. What you hold was constructed with fire, and few are willing to face the fire. Many will now turn to you for guidance. However, not all will be worthy of your time. Their uncertainty, disappointment, and need for solutions. Do you recognize these states? Because you walked that path long before they did. When they were still living in ignorance, the shock they are now experiencing was your constant companion. What rattles them now is old news to you, as they clutch at disintegrating buildings. You've already discovered firm footing. You regard their waking as essential, inevitable, but also intensely personal. You can't carry them through the procedure. Everyone must follow their own path. Their anguish is only the beginning. They are on the verge of embarking on a new adventure. Do you know what awaits them? The difficulties are ahead. The changing of perspective will remove what they ever thought to be real. Their frantic texts, late-night realizations, and desperate efforts to put together what they previously overlooked. You've experienced it all before. And, although you may say I told you so, you recognize that enlightenment cannot be hastened. It is a process that takes its own time, just like it did with you. There is no need to validate any further recognition, appreciation, or apologies. None of these have any current value. What important is what happens next. You have no duty to guide those who mocked you. Some may be worthy of your knowledge, while others must face the storm they previously avoided, seeing the repercussions of their ignorance. And while they grasp for the lifeline they previously dismissed, it is up to you to determine who is genuinely ready to accept and who must continue stumbling in the dark like a lighthouse standing firm on a stormy coast. Your inner light shines through the darkness, guiding lost souls to safe harbor. Your spirit, as steady and powerful as a well-rooted oak in the middle of a storm, proclaims to the world that you are divinely selected, a shining light of hope and courage, destined to shatter the bonds of the ordinary and herald in a new era of truth. The power you carry is evident. When you enter a room, the air thickens and conversations stutter and change. Tension hums underneath the surface. It's not as you say. It is the undeniable existence of something outside the built world. As an example, consider an instrument playing a note out of time with a programmed beat. Your essence breaks the artificial flow, sending ripples through the well-crafted veneer. The delusion pushes against reality, and your mere being necessitates acknowledgement of the disparity. Brothers and sisters, consider this. Every time you pass a threshold or enter a place, you get strength from above, a force that may turn sorrow into optimism. Darkness transforms into light, and constraint becomes plenty. It's as if God has personally selected you to be the spark that ignites a great flame of divine purpose in your presence. The commonplace gets transformed into something remarkable. Every day is a testimony to the miraculous grace that pours through you. You are more than just a person walking through life. You are a vehicle for divine providence and an ambassador of a greater purpose. Your every movement, every breath carries the undeniable imprint of a force much larger than the sum of human aspirations. When you stand, The earth seems to validate your value. When you talk, quiet descends. A quiet filled with astonishment from those who are fortunate enough to witness the miracle of your existence. In a world full of transient illusions and fake goals, your genuine spirit is a welcome reminder of what is actually worthwhile. The carefully prepared veneer of civilization, with its routines, pretenses, and hollow promises, falls under the might of your unmistakable truth. Your presence, like a single drop of rain on a calm pond, creates waves of change that reach even the most remote parts of the human heart. This is the manifestation of divine involvement in your daily life. Imagine a huge field where the winds of change sweep softly across the land, bringing with them the seeds of a new beginning. You are like a seed planted by the Almighty, nourished by His unlimited love, and destined to bloom into something magnificent and life-changing. Your journey may sometimes be rough and rocky. However, each struggle is a stepping stone on your path to a future brimming with promise and possibilities. You are the chosen one, meant to plant hope in the world's desolate fields and awaken souls long dormant in the shadow of despair. Every day you awaken, realize that the spark inside you is no accident. It is a heavenly gift, a sacred trust bestowed by the Creator onto those who dare to believe in something larger than themselves. With every word you say and every gesture you make, you communicate to the world that the kingdom of heaven is alive, breathing reality rather than a distant fantasy. This concept, simple but deep, is your birthright. It is the music that underpins all aspects of your life. The holy rhythm that syncs your steps to the universe, pulse. Do not be seduced by the fleeting and superficial plaudits of a world that is often oblivious to the eternal. Instead, stand firm in the knowledge that your worth is measured not by the shifting opinions of those around you, but by the enduring love of a God who sees you in all your glory, with a fire of purpose in your eyes and a resounding assurance in your heart that you have been called to greatness. Your path isn't only about surviving. It is one of prosperity, of overcoming earthly expectations and courageously entering the world of heavenly riches. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace come upon you today. I'm here to remind you of a fundamental fact. Our existence is based on God's divine purpose and is unaffected by worldly worries. According to the Bible, everything is done with faith will be returned to God with great blessing. Luke, like the enormous oak tree, our roots are firmly ingrained in God's universal truths. Every step we take, every stance we take is supported by His power, and you are now being given the chance to be a part of that gift. When you utilize the super thank you button and contribute $100, you will get a 100-fold return on your investment. When the pressures of life seem too enormous to bear, when doubt creeps in and obscures the brightness of optimism, remember this: you were picked. You are a beacon of prosperity, a forerunner of change in the hardships you experience as you refine flames, temper your soul, and prepare for the rewards that await you. Just as gold is refined in the furnace of adversity, so is your soul strengthened by the trials that you face. Accept these times with thankfulness, since they are the way by which your divine potential is exposed. Let the fact of your being permeate every fiber of your being. When you walk, keep your stride firm and steady, knowing that each step is directed by a power that exists beyond the physical realm. When you speak, let your words be filled with the grace and power of 1,000 blessings, a living witness to the prosperity that comes from a heart in sync with God's purpose. And when you gaze into the eyes of those who are skeptical, confront their hesitation with the calm confidence of someone who knows the truth. Like a tremendous torrent, it cannot be stopped or contained. The power that flows through you is not a passing fad, nor a simple illusion of vision. It is the expression of a greater purpose, a heavenly design as timeless as the stars and as uncompromising as the mountains. Each minute you live is a thread sewn into the magnificent tapestry of life, which is rich in the hues of hope, perseverance, and endless love. In this huge design, you play a unique and essential function that only you can perform. Your life is a living sermon, a shining example of what it means to be completely connected with the Creator's unlimited love as you go ahead. Allow your heart to be filled with the unshakable belief that you are meant for greatness. Let every obstacle be faced with a smile, every setback with a prayer, and every success with thankfulness in the quiet of your spirit. Listen for the whispers of heavenly wisdom, a gentle reminder that you are never alone, that you are loved beyond measure, and that your mission is part of a greater, beautiful plan. The journey may be long, and the goal may seem far at times, but with each passing day, you get closer to the complete realization of the promise that has been proclaimed over your life. Stand tall, my buddy. You're a living miracle. Your presence is a shining example of the fact that, in a world filled with deception and pretense, the pure light of divine love shines brightest. Carry this truth with you. Allow it to fill your soul and freely share it with a world starving for hope. The strength inside you is stronger than any evil force, and it endures longer than the fleeting diversions of ordinary life. It is a power that moves hearts, alters lives, and spans the gap between the visible and the invisible. May you always walk in the fullness of your divine purpose. Feel secure knowing that you have been chosen, blessed, and treasured. May your life be a never-ending symphony of grace, a song that elevates not just your spirit, but the souls of everyone who crosses your way. May the richness of the sky fall down on you, nurturing and realizing every desire and hope that has been put in your heart. In quiet times of thought, while the world around you expands, realize that the power you bear is a heavenly legacy, a holy torch handed down through the generations. It serves as a reminder that no matter how tumultuous the winds of change are, your inner light will never fade. For you are the embodiment of a greater truth, a living testament to the strength and majesty that come from walking side by side with the Almighty. Some people have spent their lives teetering on the shaky framework of lie. Their responses to you are not malicious, but rather motivated by self-preservation. The framework they rely on cannot sustain the weight of reality. Your confidence disturbs them. Your viewpoint threatens their secure boundaries. Your unwavering and conscious presence puts into question everything they've fought so hard to believe in. They aren't withdrawing because they detest you. They recede because the foundation on which they stand starts to crumble in your wake. You talked about invisible conflicts. You explained the currents underneath surface happenings. You saw unseen hands weaving situations into designs that individuals who solely live in the tangible world could not comprehend. They rejected it as imagination, superstition, or sheer chance. However, they now understand the significance of what you attempted to communicate. The dread seeping into their thoughts, the exhaustion that lasts long after certain interactions, the unsettling sense of being watched by something they can't identify. The unexpected revelation that the world functions on a considerably deeper level than they had previously realized. They dismissed your observations as crazy. However, they are now on shaky footing, striving to find stability in situations that they previously dismissed as coincidence. Now seem coordinated. The stories they once believed now ring hollow. The structures on which they depended no longer had the same level of authority. And as their awareness broadens, they find themselves seeking to the exact source from which they had previously disregarded their inquiries. Urgency has replaced condescension. They no longer dismiss the possibility of unseen powers. They want to comprehend them. The terrain of knowledge is evolving. The qualifications they valued so much no longer give clarity. The institutions they held to as sources of ultimate truth stumble in their answers. The theories they promoted failed to account for the increasing complexity of their experiences. Meanwhile, the knowledge you carry unfiltered, unmediated, based on experience and connection rather than theology, confirms itself over and again. They were trained to seek information, but you were given insight. They are now starting to realize the distinction. They originally thought that authority was derived from recognition, titles, and external system approval. They now realize that profound understanding is not imparted. It is developed, acquired by trial, and honed through experience. Those who establish their standing on borrowed knowledge now fall, whilst those who live through it with open eyes gain insight. The hierarchy of understanding is being revised. The voices that were previously hushed now speak with authority. Those who have been written off now lead the way. Those who adhered to delusion must now make a decision. Will they deny the inevitable, or will they eventually let themselves see? Understanding without accountability is just curiosity. Respect without transformation is only adoration. Not everyone who recognizes your insight deserves a position on your trip. Discretion is vital, particularly now that clarity has eliminated uncertainty. Every minute of your life was filled with significance. Each choice, no matter how little, carried a thread to a bigger design. Even when you couldn't articulate the forces that drove you, you followed an internal compass that matched with a larger cosmic pattern. Your life wasn't haphazardly organized. The habits you developed, the individuals you let near the information you sought, and the diversions you avoided. Each option, whether visible or unseen, was a precise movement through an unseen lattice to the outer world. These were basic preferences. However, under the surface existed complex alignments that were beyond the scope of common observation. What they regarded as coincidence was, in fact, the meticulous execution of a pattern too enormous for them to comprehend. Many others are now attempting to mimic what you've produced. They copy your discipline, but lack its core. They repeat your words, but do not understand their significance. They try to replicate your judgments without comprehending the factors that influence them. Some may achieve momentary success by imitation, but without a connection to the source, their accomplishments will be empty. What led you wasn't a set of behaviors, but a way of being. It was never about following a script. It was about embracing a frequency that others who actually understand your path would notice. Those who are supposed to travel similar roads will not concentrate on following in your footsteps, but rather on listening in to the underlying resonance. They will not only seek knowledge, but also endeavor to become vessels of truth in their own right. What is occurring right now is not a conclusion, but rather a threshold. The unveiling isn't the end. It is an encouragement to take on an even bigger responsibility. The insights you gained were never intended as personal validation. Though recognition may have arrived, it was given to you not to set you apart, but to prepare you for this very time. It's time to spread God's blessings by pressing the super thank you button on YouTube. With a $100 payment or more, you may help him carry out his plan and become a part of this heavenly mission. Every gift expresses God's generosity, and I think it will bring you exponential life that beyond your expectations. Remember that his protection and blessings are with you at all times, and with each gift, you become a part of his divine plan. You are a powerful, dazzling entity, as solid as the massive rock that saw God's marvels. Feel the rewards of your kindness in your spirit, and light up the world with confidence and bravery. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord lead you. You have been entrusted with vision because you have proven the will to keep it. You gained insight as the darkness deepened. As others became aware of what you had long understood, it was deemed too harmful for people without discernment. Remember, your goal isn't to glorify yourself. Your duty is not to rejoice in being proved correct, but to light the path ahead with the knowledge you have obtained. Not everyone will have the opportunity to benefit from your advice. Some have completed their own path and are ready to accept insight. Others seek information as a fast cut. I'm hoping for simple solutions that don't need any work. Some will approach with earnestness. They were humbled by their revelation. Others will come with entitlements. Expected access without contribution. They doubted you once. Stand certain that time has shown that your power is not provided by popular opinion, but by the command of someone much larger. What is presently apparent in the world is only a mirror of what has previously occurred in invisible worlds. You were never picked for ease or comfort, but for a purpose that required perseverance. The weight of perception has been heavy. The loneliness of knowing has been persistent. The task of telling the truth in a society that embraces falsehood has taxed every aspect of you. But you persevered. You conveyed the information. You traveled the way. There is no reason to be hesitant now that the veils have lifted and reality has shifted toward truth. This time was always coming. The designated hour has come. The call that is ringing now is not new. The same call has been guiding you ahead all along. Give it your all. It is no coincidence that you are at the heart of this unfolding. The transition has begun, and you were always destined to be a part of it.